Good morning, Exploring Foods with Smitty Foodies. Guess what? It is chili time. So, I had all of these leftover beans where I didn't cook the whole thing. So what I did is I took them, I picked them, and I mixed them all up into my bowl here. And what I'm getting ready to do is I'm going to wash them, and I am going to make a big pot of chili. That I don't eat, you can always freeze. And you know what? It tastes better when you freeze it. So, stay tuned. Okay, because I'm making a lot of chili beans, I'm putting them in my big pot because I want them to have room to cook. Okay, so now we can carry on. So, I've washed my beans to make sure I got all the dirt off of them. And I'm going to empty them in my pot, just like so. So, to this pot of beans, I'm going to add garlic, and I'm just going to cut it up like so, because even though I'm making chili, I want my beans to have a good taste also. So this is seasoning your beans as they cook. And no, I don't soak my beans. A lot of people soak their beans beforehand, but I like to put mine on the stove and just let them cook all day. Shoot, it's just after 9 o'clock. These would be good and done by at least, if I turn the fire up, about 2. So let's get that garlic in there, because garlic is good. And then I'm going to add some bell pepper. And I'm just chunking it in there because it's going to cook down. And it's not going to be as chunky after it does that. This is going to be some good chili. This is good, as they call it, sweater weather. I hope you're having sweater weather where you live at. Let's get this all cut. One thing about when you're making things like stews and stuff like that, if you cut them pretty chunky like this, it's going to cook down anyway. Okay, now let's add some onion. I love onion. There we go. Let's add some smoked paprika, just to give it a little smoky taste. And yeah, this is my chili beans. Put that on. And as I said, smoked paprika. You can get this at Watkins. Let's add a little bit of garlic salt. Even though we have garlic in there. Just a little bit. Yes, it's sweater weather that I want to add. Let's add a couple of bay leaves, because we want to make some good old chili. And remember, you're going to take these out. Okay. I'm going to sprinkle a little bit of turmeric in there, because turmeric is good for you. Okay, so what I'm going to do now that I've got my pot full of its ingredients, I'm going to add water. And you want to add enough water so that your beans will cook. And if you add enough, you don't have to keep checking. And then you have to keep in mind also that some beans will swell once they cook. Okay, so that's my water. This is my top. And what I'm going to do is just put this on the back burner and let it do its thing. Okay, so I'm getting ready to start browning my ground beef or my chili. I'm just usually when I cook my ground beef for anything like chili or tacos, instead of putting oil in it, I use water because my ground beef is not that greasy anyway, so I use water. So what I'm going to do is put in a little salt because my seasoning's going to have salt anyway. And then I'm going to put in some pepper. My beans are good and done. As I said, if you put them on in the morning, they'll be okay by the time you get ready to season them. So as you can see, that's kind of dry in there. So what I'm going to do is add some water from the beans to help me cook it. Let's get a dip for the water and the beans. Maybe 2 dips. There we go. So I'm going to get this all cooked up, and when I come back, we'll be adding it to the pot of beans that I cooked. Okay, so as you can see, my beef is starting to cook. And if you cook beef and you don't have enough, you can always add more to it later. So to this, I'm going to add some chopped tomatoes that I had in the freezer from when I made the stew. So let me just give this another stir around. Okay, so let's try to get this in there. And it looks like tomato sauce, but it's diced tomatoes. So I'm going to get that in there and let that cook. And when I come back, we're going to be adding all of this into our chili beans, into our beans. We're making them chili. Okay, so to my pot here, I've already added the tomato. I'm going to add some diced green chilies. Diced green chilies going in. Okay, and you could use whatever temperature of chilies you like to use. These aren't the hot ones, so it's going to give my chili more of a flavor. Stir that in. Okay. And to this, I'm going to go in with my chili mix, in which my chili mix has a lot of, it has pepper in it. Go ahead and put, it seems like I'm putting a lot in, but remember this has to go into the beans. So I'm going to go ahead and give this a stir, and that's going to kind of thicken it up. There we go. Okay, let's just pour it in there. Try and keep it from splattering. There we go. And you don't have to use beef. You can use turkey if you'd wish. Okay, so let's give our chili a check. And there it is. All nice and cooked and ready. I'm going to bowl up some, and when we come back, we'll taste a little. Okay, so I bowled up some of our chili, and what we're going to do with it is we're going to sprinkle some mild cheddar cheese over it. Like so. And this is a 4-bean chili. There's 4 different kinds of beans in here. And these are just beans that I cooked up. They're very easy to do. You can cook beans and put them in the freezer so when you want to use them, you have them. Okay, let's get some onions over. You don't want them to be too oniony. Get some of the green part on there. And I'm doing this with a knife, but if you have like kitchen scissors, they work perfectly. Okay. There we go. And here's our bowl of chili. Can you see it? It's all ready for this nice fall weather. Thank you for joining Exploring Foods with Smitty. I'm going to have a bite of this chili, and you all stay tuned for the next video.